Kirk Franklin. What happened to Kirk Franklin? Let's talk about it.
Yokohama class. From Alabama to Baltimore. Somehow ended up in Kawagoe, Kowedo, Dinko, Shigaya, and now Midori War, my new home. Yeah, they know. It's your boy, Dory Darrell. Got another story to tell.
Alright, this is your boy, Dorian Andrews, aka Dory Darrell with the Dory Darrell Music Channel. Thank you guys for subscribing, commenting, and liking all of my videos. So today we are talking about one of the greatest gospel artists of all time, Kirk Franklin. And I listened to Kirk Franklin as a kid growing up, from the first album, Silver and Gold, He's Able, even into the Christmas album, Now Behold the Lamb, Jesus is the Reason. One of my favorite albums from Kirk Franklin, What You're Looking For. That whole album is just so inspirational. He came out with one of his biggest songs, which was Melodies from Heaven. And even during that time, you can see Kirk Franklin mixing in like old school hip hop and R&B vibes to gospel themes and gospel centered lyrics or Christian based lyrics. So he was already fusing two different cultures and styles in his music from day one. It just wasn't as overt in the late 80s, early 90s. But then once you get further down into God's Property and of course New Nation, it became more blatant, especially with the song Stomp. And Stomp had, I think, one of the members of Salt and Pepper, I think it was Pepper, that did the rap. And like, I liked that song growing up. You know, me and my family used to listen to it all the time. And it's great for young people, you know, kids who were growing up in church and everything was just so traditional and so kind of redundant and mundane. You know, it gave us something new and fresh and hip to enjoy on the weekdays, you know, when we're not at church. But at the same time, they're lyrics based on Jesus Christ. However, the problem with that is when you start playing that music in the club, when you start playing that music in house parties where people just getting drunk and having bad intentions on their mind.
Oh no. No.
I would never want my music to be associated with people who don't really care about God. You know, I want people to learn a clear message from my music. So all of the music that I've made, you know, in the past couple of years, I wanted the music to have a clear message. And in the past, when I was making music in Japan, it was just all about women and getting drunk and, you know, smoking, you know, like that's what my life was. And there were themes of God in there, but it was so vanilla. Even a secular person wouldn't understand it. But if you're Christian, you would hear the hints of it. And there was a time where I was selling myself short by kind of quietly talking about my religious beliefs. I've seen other artists do it, but Kirk Franklin is one of the biggest artists in gospel music. So for him to do it is kind of the predecessor or precursor to all of the other lukewarm type of Christian artists. How do I feel about Kirk Franklin? Honestly, it's really hard to listen to his music when I keep hearing about all these other, you know, opinions and seeing the video evidence of what he's been doing, you know, the dancing and stuff. It's like, why are you like gyrating to like Melodies from Heaven?
Stop it.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Ever since Rebirth, I feel like all of his music sounds the same. And that's my issue with Kirk Franklin. There is no progression. He's talking about production and quality. You know, if it's not right, then he feels down. But your music has felt the same since Hero. It's felt the same since Fight of My Life. Like, all those albums sound very similar. And I know it's kind of a lot to ask because you are one person and you have a group of people and they all sound the same. But when your music starts to kind of like blend in with each other, it's like, what album is that? I don't know. Okay, what album is that? I don't know. There's no clear story in your albums besides just, okay, religion sucks, but you can still have a relationship with Jesus. These themes of church hurt gotta get out. Like, you know, there are bad churches. Yes, we know this. But if you form a relationship with Jesus on your own and you pray and ask God to help you find a church home that's not judgmental, that's going to constructively build you, you can find a good church. Religion is not all bad. Everyone has trauma. Getting over that trauma is a daily walk. It's not just a, oh yeah, stop telling me, you know, to get over my trauma. It's not that easy.
Stop it. Get some help.
God said to Abraham, is anything too hard for me? Got Sarah pregnant. The man was like 100. Come on. There's nothing too hard for Jesus. Nothing. So for you to say that your trauma is not something that you can overcome, that's saying that Jesus is a lie. And I disagree with that. Let's take a look and listen at what Kirk Franklin says is his greatest fear.
I am led. I am driven by my deficiencies. They are the fuel to my fire. I had a couple of young artists come to my studio, a couple of young successful artists, and they saw the, plaques and trophies and and they said, "Oh, gee, what's the secret?" I understood what the scripture is. I said, well, if you are asking me, is there some formula or something I can say to you that's really dope? I said, I think that my answer is going to be really discouraging for you, and I think it's going to be a letdown. I said, I am too insecure to allow you to forgive me. That's what drives me. I can't afford to be forgotten again. So I'm going to work harder than any other artist. I'm going to stay up later than any new artist. I'm going to do more interviews than you. I'm going to shake more hands than you. I'm going to kiss more babies than you. I'm going to do everything more than you because I cannot afford to be forgotten. It ain't sexy, but it's my truth.
Seeking the approval of people, right? Letting people down. Your fear of letting people down and your fear of being forgotten is missing the whole point of what we're doing in this earth. It's not about us. Like, the whole message, our life is never about us. It's about what we do for our family. It's about our legacy. It's about what we do for Jesus that will last. So I don't think that being forgotten is something that you should be afraid of, right? As a Christian, because when I'm gone, I know I won't be forgotten, because I know that if I live my life according to what Jesus wants for me, then it's going to be fruitful and it's going to multiply and it's going to leave a legacy of positivity, a legacy that will inspire other people to live their life for Jesus. Sometimes I do have thoughts in my head like, man, all of the videos that I make, the songs that I make, do they even matter? Is anybody even listening to my music? But then I have to remind myself, it doesn't matter if I inspire one person or 100 people or 1,000 people, heck, even 1,000,000 people. If I can just get one person to be inspired by my music, to come to learn about Jesus, to reevaluate their life, that's all that matters. Sometimes we have these big, grand ideas to achieve wealth, but when we die, we can't take any of that stuff with us, right? Having all these material possessions, all this money, just be that positive light, even if it's for that one person. And I have to constantly remind myself that making videos that will inspire non-native speakers to want to learn English, inspiring people who want to make music for themselves. So I think that Kirk Franklin doesn't need to worry in his old age about being forgotten, because he won't be forgotten. All of the music that he has done up until now has been for God's kingdom. Right? And as long as he's aligned with Jesus, everything's going to be fine. Constantly turn to him. That's the meaning of repentance. Turning away from our selfish desires and turn to him, then he will give us the success that is meaningful and long-lasting. I don't think Christian music is bad. I hate when people say, oh, you know.
I think that I've always quietly and privately warred with the reputation of the genre that I'm in. For example, and I always like to use this illustration. 2 girlfriends on the phone, Friday night, they're trying to find something to do.
Yeah.
Oh, girl, I got these tickets. I got these free tickets from my job of this movie premiere tonight, and I want to go to. I'm trying to talk to some girl.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm doing good with this beard on my face, but it's like, oh, girl, I want to go to this movie premiere, and like, and the girlfriend like, oh, girl, cool, oh, girl, we gonna get cute, and then the girlfriend saying, oh, what kind of movie is it?
Yeah.
If the other girlfriend says, oh, it's a Christian movie, you know what her other girlfriend gonna do? And it is universal. Her girlfriend's gonna do this. Oh.
That's true.
Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
The air in the balloon is gonna go out.
Deflated.
Automatically.
Yeah.
That's what I had fought my whole life against.
Okay.
I thought my whole life about how automatically anything that is curated from the space that we exist in, it lets the balloon out of people's idea of what the bar is. I struggle my whole life. That lady that goes, that keeps me up at night.
Okay.
That's my nightmare.
Okay.
I wanted to package Christian music so that it could be accessible to all people. Even if they don't think it's Christian, they can listen to it and say, oh, wow, this is Christian. That's amazing.
Oh, no. No, 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 no. Oh, no. No, 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 no.
I'm a Christian rapper. I'm a Christian who is a rapper. It's the same thing. What color is violet? Purple. What color is indigo? Purple. It's the same thing. So I disagree when people say, oh, once you say it's a Christian movie or it's a Christian song or a Christian, oh, and people just go, oh, okay. Like, that's their problem. That's not my problem. The only person I'm trying to please is Jesus Christ. Like, I don't think that's the best way to look at life, man. If you're a Christian artist, take pride in that. I'm a Christian artist. What's wrong with that? It's okay to make music that has a sound that people can gravitate to. However, becomes a little too much when you're collaborating with artists who have nothing to do with God. Kanye West, The Dream, Kelly Price, Chance the Rapper, and now you got Glorilla. When you collaborate with people like Will Smith, you gotta question, hey, where's your integrity, bro? Like, are you really trying to put out the message of Jesus Christ, or are you just allowing people to say, I love God, without really explicitly saying what God? Inclusivity. Like, he's just making everything inclusive. We gotta stand up for what we believe in, you know? If you're gonna be a person and an artist who is trying to spread the love of Jesus Christ and talk about Jesus Christ in your music, then we shouldn't be collaborating with people who don't talk about Jesus Christ and who don't live the life that Jesus Christ would want us to live. It's just that simple. You know, if you're gonna be on this song with me, you need to change your whole career, change your life. Like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is, if you're gonna make a gospel song with somebody, then it should be a gospel song, not an inspirational song where everybody can use it and say, oh yeah, you know, I don't really get into gospel, but I like this song because it's inspirational and motivational. Not the point of the music. The point of the music is to honor Jesus Christ. So if it's not honoring Jesus Christ, then why are you doing it? And I've been convicted of this before. My family have gotten onto me because I used to make music that wasn't pleasing to God. I used to be in the clubs. I used to be in bars. I used to perform in live houses. I opened up for Kid Ink. Like, I know what it means to be on the fence. But I shouldn't be 50 plus years old on the fence. You're kind of diluting your brand a little bit by having lyrics that are very interchangeable with other beliefs. When you have lyrics that are relatable to all people, that's a good thing. But when you start sacrificing the message of Jesus Christ in order to appeal to the masses, that's when Christians have a problem.
What the hell was that?
Oh, no. No, 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 no.
Stand up for what you believe in. Don't just say it, but really act on it in your music. I will give Kirk Franklin credit because when you see all of the past dancing and stuff that he's been doing and people are disagreeing with it, I watched his recent BET performance. He wasn't doing a whole lot of that dancing. Like, he was still dancing, but he wasn't like gyrating. Like, he wasn't doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff, you know? So I think he is listening to the fans, and that's a good thing. Like, comment, and subscribe for more information about music discussions, video game news and reviews, and English idiom tips. This is your boy Dorian Andrews, aka Dory Darrell, with the Dory Darrell Music Channel, signing out. Take care, guys. Deuce.
But on the flip side, gospel has been a respectable genre for years. So Christian hip hop was never seen. It was always seen as corny.
You sure about that? You sure about that?